To you from the beautiful metaverse, and more specifically, beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we have an interview. So I don't have the chat room up because this is a pre-recorded interview, but I think you'll find it very interesting. And with me is my guest, Debra Joy Hart.
Hey there, Reverend Don. Yep,
How
Deb Hart.
how are you today?
I'm good. Getting in the season, getting into the solstice, excited for the colors to change again, hopefully even a little more white. And also looking forward to longer days.
Yes, indeed. So we met recently at a psychic fair, and or I should say I recently did a psychic fair with you, and that is the origin of this interview. Would you talk a little bit about what you do psychic fair wise?
Psychic fair wise. Well, first of all, I want to say that this psychic fair is at a very, very, very progressive church. Oh, you can't see my air quotes. Church. And another woman and I decided, hey, we could do this as a fundraiser. And we started this 3 years ago, right? Because technically, and I do say technically, I'm sort of in charge of that part. And I go, what are they going to do? Fire me? And so we said, let's just invite our friends. It's almost like an old TV show. Let's have a party. Let's just invite our friends. So that's what Dawn and I did. And we invited a lot of our psychic friends and people who sold things. So the very first one was 2 years ago in May. So we're coming up to the third one that we will do. And we named it sort of a spiritual theme. In May, it's called Divine Feminine. It's always on Mother's Day, Divine Feminine Weekend. And that very first time we raised $800 for our church. And we're
Wonderful.
like, woo! And then the next time we didn't raise as much. Very interesting, but community started building. Like we just did readings for each other. And then the one that happens in the fall, or I should say the second weekend of November, it's when we changed the clock. So we said, discover your inner light. So that would take us into the darkness. And this fundraiser, $1,000 we raised with everybody donating and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, what? And I know a lot of churches would never, ever, let alone let psychics into this, into their sanctuary and all through their church. I have some different views on that. Plus, it's a very progressive church. It's called Unity Church and Spiritual Center. And we really take love very seriously and very proactively. We do not, like one of the last people, for instance, people would say, why would you have someone like that? Well, he was an atheist. And now I have people, he came and spoke at our church. Why would you do that? Because I think education of different organized religions or non-religions is very important to really learning the concept of love. And love isn't always wishy-gushy. Sometimes love is you make not, I don't like to say boundary lines, but self-care
Hmm.
in what you let in. And only because we're on the air, I will use this term. Uh, if someone is a jerk, that's not necessarily a judgment call. That is saying he's hurting or she's hurting people around.
Hmm.
And we don't we're not looking for that in our church. We are looking, being open and receptive. So a lot of people are asking for the atheists to come back. So
That's
let
very
me just,
cool.
and we have an gay evangelical who has been through and knows about reparative therapy and can know the lie within that. We have a druid priestess that speaks and grounds us to the earth once a month. And then we have a Reformed Catholic. And then you have me, who is a culturally, I'm pretty Jewish. I grew up that way. Religion, I'm not a religion person. I have been to Unity Church since the mid 80s. So, yeah,
It sounds
there
like a
you go.
wonderful group.
It is. And if anybody ever wants to come, that's at 1206 East Main in Urbana, Illinois, not far from Danville.
One of the things I noticed was the beautiful stained glass artwork in the church. Um, there were doves on the door you come in. There was an Egyptian winged solar disk on one of the walls, one of the windows, I should say. And it was just
Yep.
beautiful. It's a lovely space and lovely people.
Thank you.
Could you since you mentioned it's in Urbana, could you tell me a little bit about the Urbana community?
Urbana community, I think, so it's a sister city, right? Or
Hmm.
not sister city, twin cities, Champaign, Urbana. Largely, it all focuses around the University of Illinois, which is great because there's a lot of different cultures that come to the University of Illinois. It's got a great engineering department. And so we have people from all over the world. I love it. Um, Urbana, so my daughter makes t-shirts. So one of the t-shirts is shampoo banana. That is what they used to call Champaign Urbana. And there's lots of great restaurants. There's from every culture. Um, Urbanaites are usually uh, characterized by wearing socks and Birkenstocks. And yes, so everybody's got their idea. Um, and while it's very friendly and very open, there's your closed pockets
Yeah.
and the Pride Parade was there, and this was the largest Pride Parade ever in the community, in both communities. I mean, it was a lot of people. They shut
Wonderful.
down Urbana, downtown Urbana. Downtown Urbana doesn't have quite as much as downtown Champaign right now. I
Yeah.
think they're working on fixing that, but it's got the market, it's got uh, diverse cultures. Love it.
Now, how long have you been involved in psychic work?
Oh, all my life, according to my mother. I mean, my mother said, well, you were just always weird. Like you would stand up in your crib and you would talk to the wall and listen and then answer them. So that gives you that. I I don't know if you remember Uri Geller,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Uh Uri Geller was on, so I was 19 and I had come home from going to the University of Illinois. It was summertime. And Uri Geller was like 2 a.m. on some radio show and it was live. So I'm listening to it while I'm unpacking. So there I am at 19 and Uri is telling everybody to gather their watches, right? He was famous for starting broken watches and it worked. And then I said, this is weird. And I dropped it and it stopped again. But it was working. The next part, was a little stranger because my mom came in to say, "What are you doing up so late?" And I said, "Watch, Mom. Uri Geller doesn't get it right, but I know when he's going to get it right or wrong because I have a different picture." So my mom left me alone, and I called the radio station at 19 and I said, "Hey, I can tell when Yuri's getting it right or wrong." Probably this was not helping his ego. And but I'm 19, what do I know? And I said, I I think I can do better than him. And so they said, "Well, what do you want us to do, like with the cards?" I go, "The only thing I ask is if you put your hand on it, and then I'll be able to sort of see the picture." I had no idea why I said that at the time. And there you go. They did. And I believe I got about, which I suppose on average, I got 8 out of 10.
But that's very
And
good.
and they said to me, "Can you hold on for a little bit? We'd like Northwestern was studying it. We'd like them to get a hold of you." And they did call me the very next day. And I said, no, I didn't want to do this because my insecurities were like flying out the window at this point. Um, at 20 something, 23, 24, I wound up, he would kill me if I said he wouldn't kill me, and he's already dead. But I studied with a man named Harold Williams and his wife, Jeannie Williams, in Oregon. Sort of got sent there, and that's where I learned about auras and auric healing. And I actually learned all my techniques from him. And every so months, another vision or a another skill set would come into me, and I'd call him up, and I'd always be weirded out. And he'd say, "I hate when you're crying." And then I'd use that for a while. So I got pretty skilled in that, and I got divorced and eventually became a nurse
Hmm.
where I had to learn to lie a lot. And lots of the lying would be, I'll call up the uh, doctor, and there's this thing in nursing where you can say, "There's a good chance this is going to develop because these are the symptoms beforehand." So I'd say, "Well, I think this is developing," and I'd make up the symptoms that went along with that particular thing. And then they'd be seen within 2 days. And the doctor said, "That's a good call. These symptoms are here." And I go, "Oh, well, good." Nothing, saying nothing. And
Yeah.
eventually I told that to somebody else who said, "You need to start reading cards or something else." And I went, uh-uh. I tried when I was 21. I knew too much. So the bottom line is, Harold and Jeannie and I talked about it, and I decided on colored pencils was my excuse, right?
Yes.
And so, and I also figured if they pick the colored pencils, that is their subject, their their inner self wanting to know things about that goes with those particular colors. And then I would just draw the energy around them. And so I've been doing that since 2009 and teaching about energy since blah, blah, blah.
And
Yeah.
I had a reading from you at the psychic fair where you did that particular thing, and it was most fascinating.
Was I
And
pretty accurate?
yeah, you were pretty accurate.
No. Okay.
Um, I don't have the drawing here with me,
Uh-huh.
but it was very interesting how you symbolically represented the energy
Yeah.
and then explained it. And yeah, it was pretty accurate for where I was at that time.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good.
Now,
I Go ahead.
I
Go
believe you
ahead.
have a book with you.
I do. So I talk about Harold and Jeannie, right? Well,
Hmm.
their daughter uh died suddenly. There is when this was many years ago. Their eldest daughter, who was 29 at the time, and left behind a 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still controversy whether it was technically a murder
Mm-hmm.
or it was an accident. And to come to grips with that, I made up a meditation that I thought had really deals with the energy around when people die.
Mm-hmm.
And because I work a lot with auras, and that is, for your listening audience may know, that has to do with the energy around each and every human being and plant life and objects that we touch a lot.
Yes.
Okay. I do want to clarify that. And there is energy around everything, rocks, plants, animals, because that's what the universe is genuinely made up of. So, also as a nurse, and I'll talk about the book in a second, but as a nurse, I worked a lot with people who were dying
Mm-hmm.
and who died
Yes.
at hospice, and I'm a grief coach, and I don't necessarily like the way it's death is spoken about in any religion.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I'll just write my own. So it's called Grandma D's Bubbles. Can you see that? Yeah, right.
Yes.
And I'm Grandma D. Yes, this sort of does look just like me. And
Yes, indeed.
my illustrator, I worked as a clown at an HIV camp,
Ah,
HIV/AIDS. So she also volunteered there. And I said, look, I'm going to write this out. I want you to illustrate it. And I don't want a double chin. So just take that out. No hair on my legs because I'm not shaven. And so I have no shame. I'm over 65. What can I say? So,
absolutely.
so in any case, so I wrote this story about Sophia, which it was really about my granddaughter, but the parents didn't want her name or anything being used. But another one I consider a granddaughter said, oh, yeah, use my name. And basically, what happens, according to this book, that when you die, it's sort of, I use the bubble, a metaphor, a bubble metaphor. And when you die, the bubble pops. Well, what happens to all that air in that? Well, it gets dissipated. You breathe in to breathe more air and spirit out, or love. And that's how I wrote the book. And it allows for different emotions. The book has beautifully illustrated bubbles with different, and it talks about this is genuinely what I see when I am working with someone. So I don't know if you can see like a baby in
Mm-hmm.
a bubble, and then there's other things in a bubble and other things in a bubble. And so it doesn't matter what living thing is in these bubble metaphors. When the person dies or the animal dies, where does that spirit go? Well, it goes back out so we can blow other bubbles. I'm sort of comparing air and love
Mm-hmm.
as the spirit of that which died. So it's a great book. Give it to your kid with bubbles. And I am only selling them for, I'm just $10. And then there'll be shipping. So maybe a few bucks for shipping. But in any case, $10 and then shipping charge.
So where would someone go to order one?
Well, excuse me, sorry,
Certainly.
same cough. Um, One, you can email me at Debra Joy Hart, DebraJoyHart, at Gmail. So you can do that. And I really love Facebook. You'll find me on Facebook. Go ahead. Like, I'll tell you, I'm going to stalk your profile, and then I'm going to see how much you have in your profile. So if you're a Marine that's listening to this, you better have a long profile or I'm blocking you. So they can go there. I also have a website that
Hmm.
talks more about my energy art readings. You'll also see I'm a humorist and I have a TEDx talk. And you'll find some other things I don't talk about much.
Hmm.
I'm a word of mouth, get a job person, right? Oh, you need to see Deb Hart. And I'm also an officiant, a minister. So I have a lot of different hats I wear. My website is my name. And I don't know if they put the WW in there anymore, but
Um,
it's,
you can or you cannot.
you can Google my name and see a lot of stuff. Please don't hold it against me. So my name would be Debra, Debra, Joy, Joy, Hart, Hart. So that's what you would do. Debra Joy Hart.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And what is the next thing that you're doing?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm getting through the holidays.
Well, yes.
That's the next thing. Um, I just had one of the dreams of my entire lifetime come true. I'm still sort of riding the high from there. I saw the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in person. The next thing I'm doing is going to take care of a friend that's having some heart surgery.
Hmm.
And then after that, sometime I'm going to Italy.
Oh, wow. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And maybe Oregon beforehand. As far as psychic fairs or anything else, I don't have a lot of things lined up. But if you're interested in a reading, you can get a hold of me through any of those means.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. This has been a lovely talk. Is there anything else you would like to tell people?
Love is never what you think it is. And, be kind, rewind, own up to your stuff, and just love one another.
Wonderful. But we always close with a prayer. So, Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we ask you to help us to be mindful of love, the love in our hearts, the love around us, the love that powers the universe. Help us to see it and to treasure it and to spread it around. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we know you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence and may you be blessed now and always. And I thank you for your presence, Deborah, and I thank all of you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always.
Thank you. Thank you.